What's going on, guys? This is my top 10 wish list for the Nintendo Direct of February 13th, 2019 for Fire Emblem Three Houses. So the first thing I'd like to see in this Direct is a special edition console. So at least for me, I was a quick adopter of the Wii U and the 3DS. So I've been kind of on the fence about the Switch, kind of waiting patiently, and especially waiting on either a hardware revision or a special edition console that would bring me into the fold and would pique my interest. The first thing I'd like to see is possibly, so looking at this special edition Fire Emblem Awakening 3DS, you have the insignia on the inside and then this unique blue color, at least unique for what was already on the Switch or what Joy-Cons are available for the Switch. I think that this blue, two Joy-Cons of this blue, and then maybe this insignia on the dock for the Switch would be pretty cool. If not that, if you look at this the 3DS XL for Fire Emblem Fates, it has this glacier white on top and the black, and then that light graphic over the whole system. So again, I don't think you really need this graphic over each Joy-Con. I think just being on the base would be good enough, and then a white for one Joy-Con and a black for the other would be very cool. But I think this game will have its own color scheme, and so I don't see them using these exactly. I think it'll have its own color scheme and possibly its own unique Joy-Con. So I think that would be really cool. Again, just the graphic on the base would be fine. Don't need it on the Joy-Con. I think that would be a little bit tacky, but that's my first wish for this Direct. My second wish is that it will have a quick release date. So the last two games, Fire Emblem Fates came out in June of the year it came out, and then Fire Emblem Awakening, the main two games I should say, came out in February. So based on this Direct coming out in February, I think that April would be ideal as the early summer type of game, but then June at the latest. I think June is more likely since that's when Fire Emblem Fates came out and that sold fairly well. I think they'll rehash that strategy. Alright, so number 3 for me is rebranding the name. So I'm not particularly happy with the Three Houses name itself. I think it's kind of boring. I think that Fates and Awakening and Radiant Dawn and those types of names are a lot more interesting. Fire Emblem Warriors is its own brand for these Nintendo spin-off games, but I think Warriors was pretty boring. Heroes, obviously, for the iPhone game, again, pretty boring. I guess it's just simple to keep for the mainstream audience, that kind of thing. Yeah, basically just make the name more interesting. I don't know. Three Houses is just, it doesn't fit with the rest of the naming of the series. I don't know. It's kind of like Smash Bros going from Melee to Brawl and then just the Wii U and 3DS. Like, it just doesn't fit. It's not very exciting. It doesn't, it kind of, I guess it's simplified to give you an idea of what the games will be about, but it doesn't strike as a final title to me. With that being said about the name, based on it being called Three Houses, I'm really hoping they don't make 3 different versions of the game. So the last two, Fire Emblem Fates had the Conquest and the Birthright with different perspectives on the story, trying to do the Pokemon strategy or something, but it just doesn't appeal to me. I ended up skipping that game because I was very excited and I really enjoyed Awakening, and they had these 2 versions and I wanted to experience the whole story, so I wanted to probably get that deluxe version, the special version that had like both games and then an extra DLC with the story content and stuff. But that was like $100. It sold out really quick, so I'm really hoping this doesn't have 3 different versions that you have to pick up, and assuming they'll all be like $60 or something to experience the whole story. I'm really hoping there's not more than the one edition. That being said, I do want there to be some sort of connectivity between people that have the game, so the new Fire Emblem, whatever that may be. Obviously, Pokemon is trading and battling between each other, and I'm not really sure what the benefits of one person having Birthright, Fire Emblem Fates Birthright, one person having Fire Emblem Fates Conquest were. You trade character soldiers or whatever, or you give some sort of like care package or like bonuses or items or something, but some sort of cool connectivity between the editions would be beneficial to the game, even if they are the same. Like I said, I'd rather just one version, but some sort of bonus still to connecting to other players that have the game. Number 5 for me is a better character interactions and cutscenes. So I think the cutscenes for Awakening, which is the last Fire Emblem game I played, were really cool, but the interactions, like the non-cutscenes, but just like the character image with text, and then I think it did have voiceover, but just like the character image without their mouth talking or any sort of basic, very, very, very basic movements, and then the other character doing the same. I think we can improve upon that on the HD full-fledged Fire Emblem on console. So I'd hope to see that fleshed out, like better interactions between the characters. And then the cutscenes. So the cutscenes for Awakening were very good. I think everyone was pretty excited to see the HD cutscenes in Super Smash Bros. 4. Lucina and Robin, and then when they were fighting Captain Falcon in that anime art style, I thought that was really cool, and I think they expand upon that for the full-fledged, like I said, full-fledged HD Fire Emblem. Number 6 on my wish list is memorable characters and also a way to play as our favorites. So again, just kind of fleshing out more of the characters and their personalities and stuff. Awakening had some that stood out, but among dozens and dozens of characters, like a lot of them were kind of boring or repeat personalities, and especially among characters of the same like class. But basically more characters to stand out, new characters that you can connect with and empathize with, but also a way for our old favorite characters like Marth and Roy, and basically all the ones from Super Smash Brothers. And then if you're a diehard fan, like whichever characters stand out to you or characters that stand out to you in the Fire Emblem Heroes game, which is like the legacy Fire Emblem game. It'd be cool to play as Ike in some way without it being kind of shoehorned into like the DLC. Just as an option, if they could figure something like that out, that would be great. Number 7 on my wish list is a great story. So for Awakening, it's had to do with some sort of time travel. It's been a couple years since I played it. I don't really remember every beat, but time travel, and Lucina was like the descendant of Marth, and she came back to help out and all this other stuff, and had his sword and stuff, something like that, which was cool, I guess. I mean, I don't think the story was really the main appeal for that game. And then Fire Emblem Fates had the Birthright and the Conquest, which was like two different perspectives, and you pick a side, and one army or one side of the battle was seen as the good guys and one was seen as the bad guys. Something just a story that would be a little bit more unique, fully fleshed out. Obviously longer would be better, and kind of like get more time to develop the characters and have some twists and turns. I'm not really too familiar with Xenoblade Chronicles, but it seems like that those games are very long and they have twists and turns and interesting components to their story that I think Fire Emblem could learn from. So yeah, just a great story, something that's unique and gives each character some time to be fleshed out. Number 8 is new dimensions to the gameplay. So for me, I played a lot of Fire Emblem Awakening, and it kind of got repetitive, especially on the same maps. And so also in new dimensions, I mean like new ways to switch up the formula. So I think in Fire Emblem Fates, they added more of like weather conditions and spacing, like certain spots were secluded away, like a hill would be secluded and risen up above the snow, and that would give people like benefits or something like that. Like different sorts of terrain was kind of like the new dimension to the gameplay. I thought that was interesting, but I was thinking something else that really pushes this genre forward and this franchise forward, especially with it being like a full-fledged, assuming it will be a $60 game, do something really big and bombastic that you couldn't do with the handheld version. So maybe I was kind of thinking some sort of like blitz mode, either a mode or like a way of like playing it like chess, where it's not moving your whole team and then the opponent moves their whole team, but kind of like one at a time. Like you move one and then they move one, and that keeps it a little bit more, probably a degree of more strategy, and also like makes you play more defensively, and it makes the game a little bit more difficult with permadeath. Every time I played Awakening and I had permadeath on, but I would lose somebody and then I would just start the match over. But other than that sense of difficulty, it wasn't that difficult to me. Basically just refreshing the formula and making it a little bit more interesting, and like I said, moving the genre forward. That's pretty open-ended. I don't have any more concrete ideas for that, but I think they could come up with something. Hopefully they come up with something moves it forward, makes it fresh, and makes it stand out amongst other games in the genre. Number 9 on my wish list is fair and simplified DLC and a season pass. So for me, I had Awakening, but I never bought the DLC because it was like $2 here, $3 there. It didn't really show anything about, and I guess I could have looked it up, but it didn't show anything about like what was worth the purchase. It seemed all kind kind of like microtransaction type of thing, and didn't show like what was maps, what was new characters, or like new ways of playing. I don't know. So I just kind of skipped over all that. There may or may not have been a season pass, but I guess it wasn't explained to me well enough, or like advertised well enough on like what that would pertain to and make it worth its purchase. And then again, like Fire Emblem Fates had one of the most confusing DLC. Basically, you bought one game and then you could pay like, I don't know, maybe $20 to play like what was the story content for the other game or something, and then there was like some post-story in-between third game type of DLC. It was like $20. So like I just skipped over all that. And also was for the physical version, which I prefer, it was like sold out. It was like $100, and then also sold out super quickly. And I didn't keep track of the reprints or the second release or whatever. So yeah, again, just fair DLC. The Fire Emblem seems like one of the least fair pricings on any like Nintendo DLC, which is normally known for being fair, and then simplified. Like give me the advertisement like we saw for the new Smash Bros. Like 5 characters, 5 stages, new music, $25 or whatever. Tell me like exactly what we're getting and make it, you know, simple and fairly priced. Okay, number 10, I think is the longest shot, but I think some sort of interactivity with Fire Emblem Heroes would be really cool. I barely even touched Fire Emblem Heroes. I'm not a fan of those card games, collecting cards or whatever in the card style and all that kind of stuff. I'm not very interested in that. It didn't pique my interest. That being said, it appears to be Nintendo's like most successful iPhone game so far, or mobile game. Super Mario Run was like $10 to get in, so I don't think a lot of people paid for that. Whereas this free-to-play model seemed to be more successful for them. And last I checked, I think it was more successful than Animal Crossing as well. So I think something in the same vein is what Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee did for Pokemon Go in terms of like ambassadoring them more into the franchise. I think it would be pretty cool to implement some sort of connectivity with the mobile version, get them to be more interested, or like you can play the mobile version and bring like heroes over, or bring some sort of bonuses over to the Switch game with like NFC, or even just online in some way connecting the two, or again bringing people from Fire Emblem Heroes over to this one and getting them to want to buy a Switch. I think that they could do something pretty interesting and cool with that if they put the effort into it. So that's about everything for my top 10 wish list of what the Fire Emblem Nintendo Direct later today, February 13th, will be. I'm going to try to make not exactly a response video, but kind of like talking about some of the highlights and then how it compares to what my wish list might be, probably something like tomorrow. All right, have a good day. See you guys next time.
Go ahead, give me orders. It's time to measure your worth as an instructor.